What is going on, everybody? Welcome to our downtown studios. I am your host, John Ramdeen, and this is Fight News Now Extra. Robin Black will join me to chat about some of the stories making waves in MMA. In the news today, a former WEC champion is successful in his welterweight debut. After a win, Bless gets his chance to showcase his fighting abilities on network TV. Australia gets an exciting heavyweight affair, and Glory 20 gets a sensational 70-kilogram matchup. Former UFC and WEC lightweight champion Benson Henderson was triumphant in his move up to 170 pounds as he dispatched the bigger Brandon Thatch in the main event of UFC Fight Night, which took place in Broomfield, Colorado this past weekend. Henderson secured the fourth-round rear naked choke that forced the Instinct MMA veteran to tap. Smooth rebounds from a decision loss to Donald Cerrone, while Thatch suffers his first loss since 2008. After a dominant decision victory over Cole Miller at UFC Fight Night, Hawaiian fighter Max Holloway already has his next assignment. Blessed is scheduled to meet the highly ranked featherweight Cub Swanson on April 18th at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey for UFC on Fox 15. The main and co-main event will feature the 185-pound class, and there will indeed be title implications. Lyoto Machida collides with Luke Rockhold, and Yoel Romero tangles with Jacare. The UFC is looking to put together an exciting heavyweight tilt as former kickboxing star Mark Hunt will be paired against the talented American Stipe Miocic. The event will take place on May 10th in Adelaide, Australia. Both men will be looking to rebound from a loss. Kickboxing promotion Glory will hold their 20th event in Dubai in the UAE. The main event will feature a rematch at 70 kilograms as Robin van Roosmalen meets Andy Risty for the Glory title. In addition, Gabriel Varga will square off with Musab Amrani for the vacant featherweight crown, and UFC veteran Pat Barry returns to his chosen sport. All the action goes down on April 3rd at the Dubai World Trade Center. And a reminder that on Sunday night, you can catch the UFC Fight Night Bigfoot versus Frank Mir prelims starting at 5 p.m. on Fight Pass. They continue at 6 p.m. right here on Fight Network with 4 preliminary fights, including Jessica Andrade taking on Marion Renault. Then switch over to TSN2 for the main card, including the anticipated heavyweight affair between Frank Mir and Bigfoot Silva. Happy to be joined by my good friend, Mr. Robin Black and Max Holloway. Huge step up in competition taking on Cub Swanson. Is this a good move for him? I know he's confident. He's a young guy, believes, I've been faced with some of the best guys. I already fought Conor McGregor. However, a lot of people would say, Conor McGregor hurt himself. You didn't get the best Conor McGregor. And some people right now would say, Cub Swanson's actually better than Conor McGregor.
I might be one of those people. Conor McGregor is really, really freaking good. So let's make sure that we all don't forget that, because we're going to see this guy fight Jose Aldo, and that's going to be a lot of fun to see. But Cub Swanson, man, that is a big, big assignment for a young guy. But, he's already into 10, 11 fights. Yeah. So when do you want to take those? If you can take fights like that at 23, 24 years old as fight number 11 or fight number 12 or whatever he's getting to now, I say do it, but make no mistake, very, very tough fight. Swanson's striking is really crisp. And although I think Cub Swanson 4 months ago might have said, I'm going to stand and knock this guy out, and he can do that, I think Cub Swanson, after experiencing how crushing and crippling a really good top game can be by being on the wrong end of it with Frankie, he's a good quality black belt. He might want to get in and get some, be the top guy in some of that too. We saw Ben Henderson, how good he looked on top, so I think you're going to see a lot more wrestling in the next couple of months.
Well, we've seen that from Cub Swanson since losing to Jose Aldo in his time in the WEC. He was a young fighter, and we've seen the improvements. So that loss to Frankie Edgar would light a fire under him, saying, okay, I've got to improve in certain areas as well. But I think these guys will have the opportunity to shine and create a lot of interest and be fight of the night, but it's going to be very, very difficult. You look at this card, and they're really spoiling people. The main event, former Strikeforce champion Luke Rockhold taking on the former light heavyweight champion Lyoto the Dragon Machida, and then the co-main event, Jacare versus Yoel Romero. Wow. Paul Felder on the card versus Jim Miller. A loaded card. Paige Van Zandt, Felice Herrig.
They're adorable.
I know, it's insane.
They're adorable. But they're going to kick each other in the face.
You look at this main event, though, Rockhold and Machida. Is this Rockhold's time?
Man, what a great fight. What a great, great fight. It's a hard one. If Rockhold can go and dispatch a Machida, and he has the ability, if he can do that in a way that Chris Weidman could not, and he might be able to do it, then you'll have to see those two killer Americans fight each other. But, I mean, anytime people start thinking they got an answer for Machida, he changes the question. He's so beautiful to watch. I love this fight, man. These top 285-pound fights are so good.
Yeah, you talk about Machida, real martial artist, and when you look at what the idea of martial arts and self-defense is, it's all about the truth. You got to figure out what the truth is. And he looks back at that Chris Weidman fight and says, I didn't have the answers.
Yeah.
The truth was he beat me.
He had the answers.
He had the answers.
Yeah.
And so where does Machida go? How does he go and try to discover and figure out the things that are going to be able to beat Luke Rockhold? Because really, one of the most complete, if not the most complete fighter in mixed martial arts right now. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's awesome on the ground, he's awesome standing, genetically gifted, has that reach, has that range, trains at one of the best facilities in the world with the heavyweight champion of the world and arguably the number 2 205-pound fighter on the planet. Luke Rockhold is just a specimen, and I have a feeling he probably will be the UFC champion at one point.
Yeah, he's very special, no doubt about it. This fight, you just have to see it. But, you know, it's an interesting one because has Machida been solved? Like, did Weidman solve him? Because when guys are very complicated and they can beat you with a game that's different than everyone else, once we have figured it out, once it's out there, can it be recreated? And Chris had a sort of a two-pronged answer. One was really cut off the cage, and two was fight in that kicking distance. Because everybody's like, man, you got to watch out for Machida's kicks. Well, if you're not afraid of him taking you down, you can kick with the kicker, be at kicking distance and engage him there. Rockhold has spectacular kicks too. So he has the tools. It's whether or not that answer can be rewritten by other people and everyone can say, well, this is how you beat him. We can recreate it or not. And I don't know that that's the case because Machida can adapt and do different things. I mean, he could come out in an entirely different stance or he could come out and initiate the wrestling. There's a lot of answers that he has. That's why we have to see this fight.
And then, of course, the co-feature, Jacare, Romero, wrestling versus jiu-jitsu. However, Jacare, man, the improvements he's made in the stand-up department and the toughness department and the coming forward department, really one of the scariest fighters at 185 pounds.
If you line up the math and the numbers and compare it, I think you could say that Jacare is the better fighter. He'd be the guy to pick. But then you watch Romero, man, and when he can do the things that he can do, smash guys up into the air and drive them into the mat, it's scary. But, you know, do you want Jacare on the ground or do you want to stand up with him? Because in theory, you know, he can take something off and take it home. So if you use that defensive wrestling to keep it on the feet, now we got us a slugfest between two guys, but I still think Jacare's got the edge there too.
And I have a feeling you'll probably be picking Luke Rockhold against Lyoto Machida. However, who knows? But I think most people will be picking him. He's younger, he's stronger, he's faster. And then we will see Jacare possibly and Luke Rockhold, two guys that fought for the Strikeforce Championship in the past, and either one of those guys taking on Chris Weidman.
So good.
That is it for us. Don't go anywhere. More fight news now extra is still coming at ya.